All right, 30, stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Morning, everyone. This really feels weird, so I'm just letting you know early. I feel like I'm in the back seat of the car here again. Start out with everything's good with Trish on your agenda.
Yes.
Great motion to approve the agenda. All right, we have a motion. Okay. You're gonna speak up. I'm a little deaf. You have a motion and second. Any more? Favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Minutes from the 18th. We have a motion and a second for the minutes from the 18th. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Bob and Dennis.
Thank you.
Bid claims this morning. Anybody look through those? Yeah, I did. Thank most of it.
$373,964.95.
Right. Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All the same sign. Motion carried. General public concerns? Anyone? All right. In order to have a little time till we get to 9 o'clock and start the hearing, or committee reports, which we usually do at the end of the meeting, you'll take your time, speak real slow. Go ahead, Bob.
Monday, we had a meeting, public safety commission at 11 o'clock after that morning. Went over that with the meeting again Friday morning. Hopefully you can something figured out. Went to the conservation meeting. Friday, I went out. Street grenades. Okay. Gravel. Then gravel. Drove it. Right here. Leave a message. And I did get a call from Jim Cleveland on Monday, yesterday. He thinks there needs to be some more fencing for that 54 time off later to go around.
The driving one.
The drive Bob Waker's field go around bridge.
I know.
There.
Yeah. Barricades and miles rock on either side of the bridge. Like last week, we went out, fencing up, by the intersection.
Side by side, it's not going to stop camping bars.
No, side by side. Yeah.
Since it's been closed, people are using it to
Thanks.
fish and, rehydrate. Turn into a local spots.
That's all I have.
Tuesday, built families over clarion, to all the ventures when I go for that, stop it, it comes to the people that are challenging the assessment. Correct. It's crazy. People Wednesday, I talked to Nate Reekers, he did straight, he's gonna start in South Half and Humboldt County. Cause it's blacktops to start. You don't have time when you get it done, but that's his, itinerary. Thursday, ISAC webinar, NATO webinar, visit with, planning board member of the mission, that's what I call Gavin, the 10th Tuesday. There's that. Okay.
When you had the, meeting up where they, yeah. We got another one, 28, like you said. We've got some discussion of wave on this, 28E. Differences, yeah. But, good Thursday, we had a stereo meeting. And that was about it.
I had no official meetings, I did go out. Look like Gilmore and swung back through Rutland. Go past the quarry there at 7:30, I think it was on Wednesday evening. And he was still running. And I thought, well, wasn't very noisy there on the south road. I drove into Rose Mill, the campgrounds, just to see what it was like here. So, of course, wind was out of the west that day. He was still running at 7. That's all I had.
All right. Tuesday morning, David Shaw called the PA commissioner. Had the, paperwork for, the VA's money they had sent or spent last year, so I went tonight, picked it up, brought it up here to trade. Then I met with, Ben, out at Secondary Roads for, and a couple of farmers that, had concerns on 190th Street out there. Went good, I think. We talked for quite a while. Then on, 5 o'clock, I had my Leadville meeting. Zoomed, that for the month finances. Tonight we have our meeting up in Emmitsburg at 5 o'clock, so that's the year meeting where we do a face to face. Thursday, I had visited with Melissa O'Connor, so she invited me to go out to the ministerial board meeting at noon at the hospital, so I went out there to listen. Wanted to see what their review was for the disaster deal last week with the hospital. Everyone did reviews on that. At 5 o'clock, we put the high school kids game up and did flags the football team. They had some younger kids, but they still got it done in 20 minutes. And there was no blood till we went, but nobody broke a nose with flagpole getting slapped in their dinner. But everybody was moving and stuff and we so Mike was there also. The other thing I would say is Dave Lee said that there are some flags. What did we put up? Like 7, 8 good flags.
At least, yeah, about 13 or 16 on flag, so, yeah.
So, we have quite a few that he mentioned that weren't paid for yet. If any business would like to donate, help them up at the VFW. They try to rotate as many through as they can in the year, get good color. Some of them getting pretty faded out. And then on Friday, I had the meeting down at Eldora with the juvenile detention. You need the group to
This. They say they can't hear.
Our meeting down at juvenile detention in Eldora for monthly meeting. They're getting some numbers straightened out. Hopefully the 2080 agreements that we have with all the other counties. We had some counties that opted out during that lawsuit. Hopefully some of them are going to return. So we'll have to bring that back to Humboldt. That'll go before our board and we'll say, we agree that Webster County, and I'm just using Webster County, they didn't opt out, but if we would allow Webster County to come back to juvenile detention for their services. I hate to say it, but the numbers are still pretty high. Kids down there, which means that we're still in business. So that was pretty much, and my phone with this meeting, I think has been ringing off the hook, but I guess that's pretty much my week. I'm gonna have a small disclaimer here because we're all, planning and zoning board gave us these ordinances, put all this stuff together. So we have got the task of trying to put it in place. And I know there's opposition on both sides, for and against, so we're doing our best to, we lean on John, and John gives us direction as to hopefully which direction we can go. These are not set in stone by any means, right? So we're planning on trying to go through these. I wish we'd said it for 8:45. But 9 o'clock is the starting time of the hearing, so I'm a Lutheran. I don't have the ability to stretch a sermon out any longer. So we want to just play the Jeopardy theme song and we'll sit here for, because we can't start before 9 o'clock, right?
Should we have our discussion on our 2080 city?
You can talk about that if you want. You guys want to give us an update on anything that's been at that meeting to Monday?
Well, the Evans City on Monday talked about changing the current way. The main thing that the county wanted to address the city. The city's contribution to the 2080 agreement. Actually, will be left with this down expansion. They talk about trying to cut costs, trying to figure out with that, but the big thing is the city's levy or they're doing by law enforcement instead of $1.05, which gets down $250,000 a year to spend. We determine cost of dispatch is about $790,000 a year. So the 50/50 contribution was $395. The city not able to do that. So yeah, was. And as the Bob bring that back to the board and discuss if that's acceptable to other way challenges. I think a lot of discussion with Trish and Paul talked about the different extra costs and how software costs are passed viral and how that can be addressed. So, pretty open. City's gonna have their attorney work on the agreement. The county sent over. I don't know, my business up to Dennis, Bob, or Trish, or
I think the biggest thing is that we all know their budget's already set for 27, so it's hard to move up 30% where they're at now. Once we get into 28's budget, we'll discuss raising it up. We know expenses are gonna go up, obviously. There are some spots that we could cut back. Am I correct, Dennis? I did bring my sheet with you, of course. And then everybody was kind of concerned about, I'll read the paragraph. Any revenue shortfall, the city of Humboldt or the Humboldt County shall be paid by the gathering entities. If the either city of Humboldt or Humboldt County has a revenue shortfall, they shall reimburse the other entities for revenue shortfall. If neither party is able to cover a shortfall, then the parties will work together and find a solution. And I think we're discussing the shortfall dispatch. Dispatch has to keep going no matter what. If they run short, it's gotta keep going. We just can't shut down dispatch. So that's what our biggest concern was, you might, we're correct.
Well, the biggest crux of it is the calls are not 50-50 with the county and the city. The city is getting 55% of the calls, and we're getting 45%.
Right.
The use of the entity is the issue at hand. That's my issue.
Right.
If you're using half of the utility, then you pay half of the cost. And I guess that was my stance.
I think we're all on the same board, we wanna be 50. Right?
And that come across as they didn't figure they're gonna have the money for that,
For the 27 year,
27.
and that's when we go renegotiate. For the 28.
They don't wanna commit to any numbers this
What's
year.
that?
They can amend the budget to be up to $1.50,
For 27,
half of this, or, yeah, first of all.
$1.50 would bring them to, I believe, would bring them to the 50-50. But they'd be like 1 cent or so from maxing it out. They didn't wanna do that, so that's where we're at right now.
Was it 5/20/26 year to date, 25-26 year, the county's put forward $458,723, the city's put $168.75.
Yeah,
So $168,750. That's quite a disparity for using half of the service. So I guess that's my point. We need correction on that.
All right, well, with that, I think we still have a few minutes before we can start. Our scheduled hearing is at 9 o'clock. I guess, go over our guidelines for this. When we open the public hearing, it's gonna be just like a normal public hearing. We open the public hearing, presentation and discussion. I'm just gonna use the wind ordinance as an example. Everybody you get your copies out there if you're interested in a copy, because we're not gonna read it word for word. It's 16 pages. I know that, Kevin Cordray is gone. He's at a 4th grade graduation, and I said, well, I'm supposed to be there too. Can I come? And he didn't give me permission, so I have 2 grandkids that probably think I'm on horses, you know what, but anyway. So when we start this, you signed up, you have your 2 minutes to get up and give a presentation of for, against, whatever. We're gonna take notes, hopefully get some ideas for this, and then we're gonna go back and have a meeting sometime in the near future, right?
Yep. Would you want to make the announcement? We're going to remand the transmission lines back to the planning and zoning before the meeting, or just?
Go ahead.
I talked to Kevin earlier, when I got a phone call, from Gary Fritz, and I talked to Kevin, he said, remand the transmission line ordinance, or moratorium ordinance back to them, and they're going to refine a little bit, define what exactly, they're not going to allow them, what are going to go out. If anybody wants to read it, there's a copy of the ordinance or the information right here. I'll read it.
They did send a copy of their response to us here. So we have it.
Are you still taking all the comment on the thing?
No,
No,
We can't, I mean,
that,
what?
I think we should, but,
Well, yeah. Beat it.
hmm?
We can't run.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, they sent their written.
Yep. Okay.
Recommendations, so we know that there's opposition to the way that the ordinance is written, so if we do the reading. That's what we're after, we're doing the reading so that we have it on record that it was taken.
Let's have our public hearing on it.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll take that.
Would you agree, John?
Yeah, I don't think it does anybody harm having a public hearing, maybe even if we're gonna look at the setback again, or talk about changing them. I just want to make comments. Not everybody can be there every meeting, so people are here. They not, you want to at least state your name and get your comments on that, or people more to consider those concerns.
So. Like I said, you'll have roughly a couple of minutes, we aren't gonna sit here with a stopwatch unless it gets really long and. The sun goes down or something like that, yes, if you would state your name, so we all know who, you're on a list out there at the door. We're gonna hopefully keep this thing, cordial. Don't interrupt people, I know that everybody doesn't have the same opinion, so. That's what I would say. I still have 9 minutes to go before the thing can start, so.
There's plenty of room up front here.
Bruce, maybe somebody should mention that they will be discounted, or they will be let out of here if they start over talking.
Also, yeah, the deputies, we have a couple of deputies here, if things get out of hand, we have. I don't think that any of us are gonna do that, but. I was told to remind you. If Dean comes in, we're gonna give him a group hug so that he feels like he's loved, because he's a little down today, so. I'm teasing, Bob. Anybody got anything you want to talk about? Oh, I can tell you all that, the flags, back to the VFW, if anybody has any, donations, the flags out here, they tried to put them up. For Memorial Day, for the 4th of July, the last few years, we've had the high school kids, this year was kind of track. We had a pretty good sized group of kids that were down at the track and state championship in Des Moines, so they were missing, but we had the young kids, so. But it has been a godsend from Coach Edelman that bringing his kids up here, because us old guys trying to hoist all them poles up and trying to tell them you don't let the flag touch the ground and stuff like that is, they're learning, so we are doing our best with them, but if you get a chance to thank them, if you see any high school kids, tell them thank you, because I think it really looks sharp. They're gonna try to put a couple more poles out here and angle it up towards the center, the large pole there, so. That was their plan when we redid the yard out here. One day.
Good way.
You say, can we pull that boat into and use the front row, because.
Oh, you mean?
Yeah, the gate is open up here, so we can't.
Can we put the podium through the front?
Sure.
They,
Give a free mix.
I'm good. I'm gonna read this, top part, of ordinance 77, that way we at least have on record of local billing. I don't want that, I'll end up choking if somebody will end up falling into that.
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
we're not gonna give you the Heimlich.
Dean's not gonna come and carry me out again. Take them, thanks so much.
I'll get a card.
Is your mic on?
I don't know.
I don't think so. Lighting on, there'll be a blue light at the bottom.
Oh, is that right?
Now we're on.
Oh, now they're on. Yours is on.
Mine is, are you guys is on?
At least that one there is maybe, pretty people speak. There. Yeah, I call.
Yeah. Yeah, turn full. Quite a ways in.
No knowledge of these chairs, so if you lean back and the buttons
Are
down,
them working?
you're on
Your
your.
mics working? Or they got to turn them on up there?
Yeah.
Seems to me there was the blue when they lit up for some reason.
Listen, where's that, get my hand out there? No.
Maybe Sherry's your last word.
Thank you.
But everybody believe that night is.
They're gonna do this as a podium. I don't know if we can't stretch it, but at least it might be on. This is the song, the red lights on, it's on.
Sorry. The judge's chair.
Here. Okay.
Where do you look, Brian?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Nice.
What? We good?
It's getting my thing.
That's on. All right, it's 9 o'clock. With that, we're opening, or go to the first public hearing the reading of the ordinance number 77, an ordinance amending the 2018 Humboldt County zoning ordinance by repealing and replacing ordinance 68 and ordinance number 26, article 5, section 3 and 4 concerning regulations of the development and operation of commercial / utility grade wind energy. Conservation system WECS within the unincorporated areas of Humboldt County. With that, I need a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing at 9:02.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to open the public hearing at 9:02. Any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Hearing is now open. Going through these numbers, I know that Kevin's not here yet, I'm assuming. So, like I said, we're not going to sit and read these word for word, right? We have a list of people that we're gonna talk. Or wanting to requesting time to talk.
Out there. Want me to get it? Maybe I did.
Did you sign up?
I did, fine.
Well, they're going on to get the list, so hang on here a minute.
There's a couple spots up here, they're gonna squeeze together so everybody can get in.
And I will say, when people are up at the podium, they have their time to speak, please don't interrupt them. So just let them have their time,
You read it.
they're done, you know, if you're done. Start having this argument back and forth. It's not good.
And the room is awful echoey, so try to keep our noise down. What do you got first, Trish?
Mark Olson.
Mark? Yep.
Yep.
Mark Olson. Well, here was my support, one more time for energy development, Humboldt County. I don't know what I could say now, but I haven't already said in previous supervisor meetings. I recent email to you supervisors. And my recent letter to the editor in Humboldt Independent. Wind energy development is safe and reliable. Humboldt County is not a pioneer in this development. Many wind projects have been built in many other counties in Iowa, other states around the country, including the big oil state of Texas. This is happening because wind energy is the cheapest, fastest way to increase production of electricity, and it doesn't take much land out of production. I have addressed the multiple objections that opponents of wind energy have raised in their ads in the newspaper over the last few months. I've highlighted the potential effects of the local county budget as a result of the state legislature cap on property taxes. Even Polk County, with all of their business and residential development, is looking at how the property tax cap is going to affect their budget. I urge you to vote no on ordinance 77. You need to proceed with a new or modified ordinance with reasonable, responsible setbacks. It will allow development of wind energy in Humboldt County, the financial boost it will provide to the county. Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks. Melissa Euban.
My supervisors. My name is Melissa Human, and I've lived in Humboldt County my entire life. My grandparents bought the acres where we live, and we've owned that farm for 60 years. They work the land, we've raised cattle on it, we've built a life around it. Today our family still owns it. We still farm it, we raise cattle. My kids hunt fish, our whole family does. And then, we enjoy the peace and beauty that the place brings to our lives. The land is more than property to us. It is our home, our heritage, and part of who we are. All of us, including our kids now, have worked on this land, from caring from cattle to walking beans, picking up rocks, baling hay. This is a legacy our grandparents started, and one we plan to keep passing down for generations to come. I know we're not the only family in Humboldt County doing this exact same thing. The wildlife there feeds our family, and not just us country folks enjoy it. Many people who live in town also hunt, fish, and enjoy these rural areas with their families and friends. This issue does not only affect rural residents, it affects city residents too, especially those who value the outdoors and the beauty of Humboldt County. It is one of the few places left where you can slow down, enjoy the scenery, and appreciate the beauty God created for us. I do not believe industrializing our county with windmills, solar fields, and massive data centers is what this country needs, or the county needs. Last Thursday, I drove through Crawford County near Dunson, and honestly, it made me sick to see beautiful cattle country covered in windmills. Land that once looked natural and peaceful now looks industrialized. There are real concerns that still don't have good answers. What happens to cattle operations around these projects? We hear about lightning strikes connected to turbines. If livestock are lost because of these developments, who is responsible? Farmers in other counties have already talked about damaged farm tile and drainage issues caused during construction, and then struggling to even get repairs made afterwards. We also need to think about our seed corn farmers. Humboldt County is a major seed corn producing area, and these projects could be detrimental to that industry and the families who depend on it. Agriculture is the backbone of this county, and we should not risk damaging productive farmland and long-standing farming operations for outside industrial projects. So I ask, why should Humboldt County take on all the risk while outside companies take the profit? Once this landscape changes, we cannot get it back. I'm asking you as supervisors to protect our farmland, our wildlife, and our outdoor traditions and the future of this county. Please keep windmills, large-scale solar projects, and data centers out of Humboldt County. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chad Small.
I'm Chad Small, representative of Local 234, International Union Operated Engineers. Represent around 3,000 skilled men and women across 92 counties in Iowa. While I may not be from this immediate area, many of our members are. Wind energy construction, erection, maintenance, and careers that support local families with top wages, quality health insurance, and retirement benefits. Not only for operating engineers, but for many other skilled trades involved in these projects. Wind energy projects are some of the safest, cleanest, and most rewarding projects our members build. These are not temporary jobs. These are long-term career opportunities. They also create pathways for local residents and younger generations to join a union or apprenticeship program that provides training for high-paying careers without massive college debt. This project is also investment in the future of your community. Projects like this help generate revenue that can support schools, roads, fire departments, infrastructure, and future development opportunities. There's also direct impact to local businesses. Workers traveling in the area will spend money on hotels, restaurants, groceries, fuel, and other services right here in your community. Contractors will also purchase materials and supplies locally whenever possible. Local 234, Iowa Building Construction Trade supports these projects because we believe it creates opportunities for workers, for families, and for the community as a whole. Again, my name is Chad Small. I'm District 3 Business Agent, Local 234. If anybody wants to continue your conversation, my number is 515-415-1563. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
What was the last four numbers?
Yeah,
1563.
Thank you.
thank you.
Tim, is it Renard?
Hello, my name is Tim Renan. I'm with RWE and also represents over 70 landowners in this area. We are actively developing a project east of the Des Moines River. in Humboldt County, been active since 2018. Just want to keep this brief and address a few things in the ordinance that are as written, well exceed the Iowa standards for wind development. First, for the ADLS, for those who don't know what that acronym is, that's Aircraft Detection Lighting System. We agree this is a good practice and we are willing to implement ADLS. This eliminates the blinking lights all night and just only turns on when an aircraft is in the area. However, the ordinance just says if we don't have an ADLS, we can't build the project. The FAA is the authority who decides. So we think a reasonable requirement would be for an applicant to apply for ADLS. So it's just a simple fix and we can get on board with that. Flicker is another one. So essentially this ordinance bans flicker. Flicker is the shadowing effect that can happen from the tall structures. Iowa standard is 30 hours a year, which really comes down to 5 minutes a day. So we're really not talking about substantial flicker impacts. Setbacks in general, I mean, the way it's written is very prohibitive. So we think even if you take any of the setbacks, whether it's the dwelling, the proximity to parks, you can cut it in half and you'll end up pretty close to the Iowa standards. Sound is another one, currently at 45 decibels, the standards at 50. So really the overall theme we're seeing here is that this is prohibitive, likely by design. Of the ordinances I've seen in Iowa, this is the most restrictive as presented. So we urge you to vote against the ordinance and go back and revise it to something that's more in line with the wind development standards. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sound and internet. Sound down. Internet.
We can't hear you back here. That was right. They did a Microsoft.
Go ahead, Tanya.
The only thing I want to say is, I don't believe wind energy is the most efficient.
Can you go up here to speak?
Oh, okay. In my opinion, I don't believe that wind energy is the most efficient form of energy. And I may be wrong, my husband worked for Humboldt, and this is not saying he said this, but I know that because you can't store wind energy, it's very, very expensive to take everything down when it's old. There isn't a place to put everything. I don't want to see that in Humboldt County. So just my opinion is I don't want them. And I understand where you farmers would like them and would like the income. I get that, but I just don't want to see them. That's it.
Thank you.
DC Loving.
Better come up here. Okay, let me come here with as much humility as Sonia did and not knowing everything. But I know everybody in this room wants to set Humboldt County up for success. All of us, no matter what side of the issue we're on. But what I think falls to the 5 of you is deciding whether we're gonna cut Humboldt County out of the new electric economy and all the things that come with it. I was shocked when I learned how much revenue counties get from wind. Wind demand is increasing. It's 63% of Iowa's energy right now. Energy is the cheapest way to generate energy in Iowa, and that's if you include the infrastructure cost of everything. So more wind's coming. just whether we participate in that economy or not. And then lastly, I want to say that we all know we need improvements to the electric grid. And whether we get wind or not, but I think the places closest to generating wind energy are gonna be at the top of the list for electric grid improvements, which could have an effect on businesses coming in. So, anyway, thanks a lot for your time. However you land on this, I know you're doing best.
Thank you.
Thank you, TC.
Christie Rogers.
Unless you're gonna be really bold and speak deep.
I think I could do
There
it,
you
but
go.
I'll go ahead and stand here. My name's Christy Rogers. I'm an attorney with Dentons Davis Brown Law Firm in Des Moines. I represent RWE, and I'm here to speak a little bit on behalf of RWE. Make no mistake about it, as Mr. Renaud shared a few minutes ago, this is a prohibitive ordinance that will make it impossible for any commercial wind developer to develop a project in Humboldt County in compliance with these regulations. And I say that not just based on RWE's internal work on their project, but on my own work on 30 projects across the state. This is not an ordinance that can be built under by any responsible developer. In fact, any developer, it's just not possible to cite with these restrictions. The problem with that is that Iowa code and the Iowa legislature has encouraged counties to promote renewable energy development throughout the state. That's throughout the Iowa code and several sections of the Iowa code. And that means that counties need to reasonably regulate rather than functionally prohibit or ban these sorts of facilities. And what happens if you pass an ordinance like this is that you're cutting Humboldt County and you're cutting its residents out of the ability to have any say in what the setbacks and what the things, what the different restrictions on wind or any of these other sorts of facilities look like. And the reason for that is that the Iowa code is also very clear in Iowa Code Chapter 476A, which is the chapter that provides for the Iowa Utilities Commission to permit these facilities by granting them certificates of public convenience, use, and necessity. That statute provides two things that are really important for you to understand. First of all, Chapter 476A, Section 5, subsection 3, provides that failure to meet county zoning does not preclude the Iowa Utilities Commission from issuing those permits. So what you're setting yourself up for is counties having to go to the Iowa Utilities Commission if they would like to develop here. And if they do that, Iowa Code 476A subsection 8 provides that a county shall not require any further approval once one of those permits is granted. There's currently no standards in the Iowa Code or in the Utilities Commission's regulations for what these projects, how to cite them. I know that all of my clients, including RWE, cite consistent with industry best standards. What Mr. Renaud was referring to is Iowa best standards. It's actually not even that. It's across the industry, across the country, across the world. The things that we have learned through citing these projects over the last, 10, 15, 20 years. All of those best practices have been incorporated in RWE's design and in general, just in what I'm suggesting to you should be a reasonable regulation. I'm not suggesting to you that anything that you shouldn't be able to regulate these. I think you should. I think you should do that. But if you do it by passing this ordinance, you are cutting yourself out of the conversation. And I think a better route would be for you to, go back to the drawing board and have the Planning and Zoning Commission do so, or for you to do so. I also just want to make clear that a Planning and Zoning Commission's role in this process has been done. At this point, it is up to you as the elected officials of Humboldt County to make a decision about whether you want Humboldt County to have a voice in these sorts of projects or not. And, you have the ability as a board of supervisors to revise this ordinance and pass it to, start from the drawing board. I mean, it's not a zoning ordinance. You don't have to get a recommendation from the zoning commission in order to go forward. You've gotten your recommendation from them. You don't have to take it. They aren't the elected officials, you are. So I would encourage you to think very carefully about whether or not you're interested in having a say in this process. And just to be clear, there were some changes recently in Iowa law governing these projects. You may have heard about the worthwhile win decision that found that counties do not, the counties can regulate these projects reasonably, and that companies don't get a vested right in a project they developed, even if the county comes in and changes the regulations, and that's true. That means a county's not gonna get sued by a company just because it changes its ordinances when a project is under development, but it doesn't preclude companies from going to the Iowa Utilities Commission. And, that decision came out from the Iowa Supreme Court on a Friday, and on the following Monday, the Iowa Utilities Commission granted for the first time a certificate of public convenience, use, and necessity with a explicit provision saying that party did not need to go back to the county in order to get a permit. So I just wanted you to be aware of those developments, and, I appreciate your efforts in this. If you have any questions, please feel free to let us know. Thanks.
Thank you.
At Dornberg.
Matt Dornbeer, first off, this ordinance doesn't restrict any wind energy to come to this county. This doesn't make it easy for them to do whatever they want. You want to hear me louder?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's an issue there. Second off, there's been a few things just to kind of enlighten you on who you're dealing with is, a few weeks ago, you had a meeting. One of the representatives sat here the entire meeting and decided not to speak till the meeting was adjourned. Why didn't they speak during public session, one open comment? They didn't want it on record. There's been some rumors around, you know who you are if it pertains to you, possible money being under the table to some supervisors to pass this, don't know for sure or not. Some supervisors say they're not running for re-election, they don't care what happens. Other supervisors have said, they're just gonna find that common ground with RWE, so the project can conclude, so they can get on, and move on with their business. Ask yourself why they're coming to Humboldt County. Well, because it's one of the few counties left they haven't polluted and destroyed. You guys got a good county here, you talk about tax revenue, you may be missing out on that. Whatever they promise you up front, I can guarantee it's an opportunity to get it. You might get more people moved to this county and increase your tax revenue when you don't have windmills stuck in every corner. This easement's not, this proposed as a ordinance, thank you. It's not restrictive. It's not impossible. They can still do it. They're just gonna have to work with you. So I encourage you to pass it as it stands.
Thank you. Thank you.
Harlan Schultz.
Harlan Schultz. I'm here to give an opinion that we are blessed to have some of the best ground in the world to farm. To put these windmills on them will not improve them in one bit, and if we're gonna give it to the next generation, we should try to give it to them in a condition that it was given to us. Also, there's a lot of seed corn growing in this county, in this area. I just talked to the Boone plant, which is responsible for here. They say there's 8,100 acres in this area. And in their contract with seed growers, there is a paragraph in there dealing with windmills and the setbacks. I have a copy here, if you supervisors would like one, I'll give it to you. Just briefly, the setbacks are 165 feet from the windmill or generator. So that's, anywhere from a quarter to a half acre.
and you have access roads going into it, which makes farming more difficult, you got farm around it. And Bayer, who owns DeKalb, they like be able to go fence line, as do farmers. And if they get disappointed in what's available to them here, I can see them pulling out of here. And then the county would lose all the income that the seed farm production benefits the county. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Harlan.
Next we have a Burrell from Ruth Finn. I can't get the last thing. All right, we have a Kendra Watson. Clearly.
Please come up to the mic, there, please.
Separate, right? I'm Kendra Walden, I was formerly in Maine, I grew up here. I have several things I want to talk to you, oh, sorry, microphone, sorry. I want to talk about handling the outload, the decommissioned turbines. I want to talk about same thing that the utility board and Saragordo County, that whole mess. And I want to begin with talking about taking down the turbines. The turbine companies have not lived up to their promises. I can personally attest to that. You cannot trust them to do what they say they're going to do. It is not profitable for them to incur the expense to remove the turbines. The profit incentive is gone and the company will simply walk away and declare bankruptcy. So I noticed that you have a bond provision. I didn't get an opportunity to read the ordinance, but I noticed you have a bond provision. Where you should require them to post a significant bond. They should be required to provide biannual proof of the bond, not annual, and the amount of the bond needs to float somehow with inflation. Another option would be have the company pay additional money to the county for some fund for decommissioning towers. The cost estimate is 10 million to decommission them. They could pay it over 10 years and it could be held in account for taking them down. They're dangerous, and if they're unrepaired, they get more dangerous. They'll fall down, they blow down, they catch on fire, they leak oil, they do all sorts of things. So taking them down is one of the most important things about putting them up. Second of all, I want to talk about Saragordo County situation with the utility. First of all, you have been intimidated. She tried to intimidate with you by using the utility board ruling. What she didn't tell you was that Saragordo County versus utility board is totally different than Humboldt. First of all, the utility board does not have a final say. Saragordo County can still take it to court and the court final say. Supreme Court of Iowa clearly recognizes the right of counties to govern themselves. The Humboldt County ordinance is also very different than the Saragordo County ordinance. This Supreme Court has said that county has a right to govern itself. As further stated in Worthwhile versus Worth County, that there is a time-honored and well-established rule. The county ordinances are presumed valid. So anything you pass, a wind company would have trouble overcoming. The Supreme Court has declared counties have the right to enact an ordinance and control the turbine building, which is what you're doing. The comment that turbines just can't be built is not true. They have to be built at more expense rather than built the way the company wants to build it. Saragordo County ordinance was different. They totally banned turbine building on all land zoned agriculture 1. You aren't banning anything.
You are prohibiting certain things. You are very wisely doing some things that make sense for your constituents. It's a different situation and it will be treated differently. I want to point out that you are all, voted in, you're elected, so be sure to listen to your constituents, whatever they say. And my last thing I want to address, you people. These contracts are incredibly one-sided, totally and completely, and they're about 40 years. So if you are going to sign one, be sure to take it to your attorney and understand what you are signing before you sign it, because it'll tie you up for 40 or 50 years. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kendra.
We'll go back to, I think it's Borel and Rotten. There are Borel, he's Rotten. Looks like B-O-R-R-E-L. Right. David Edge.
David Edge from Humboldt. My only question is, if windmills are so profitable, why do we have a government subsidy on them of 2.6 cents per kilowatt hour? If you do research on AI, 6 million kilowatt hours per year per windmill, $156,000 per windmill. 10-year contract, 1.56 million. That's taxpayer money that's going to fund windmills. Just throwing out questions. Thanks.
Thank you. Tom Wilson.
Hello, Tom Wilson. I am here to address you folks, and encourage you to adopt the new ordinances. I think there were some very intelligent people and literally thousands of hours of work and research put into the new ordinances and how much they will help protect your constituents in the community and the farmers. Personally have a small exotic animal farm, and the original ordinances as written would negatively impact us to the point that we would probably have to leave the community. I also know from my own personal research that I really don't want my property values impacted negatively from the wind farms. I'm not saying wind farms are 100% negative thing. I just don't think they fit in Humboldt County. I don't think the increased impact on our infrastructure would offset the increased tax revenue from the wind farms. So it's my personal opinion that you guys should at least adopt these new ordinances to help protect your constituents. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lisa Schlunger.
Hi, my name is Lisa Binger and I live in Humboldt County. I want to say that once these windmills are put up, the corporations don't normally stand behind them. My husband worked with somebody who actually put the windmills up and had to quit because his health became so bad that he couldn't work anymore for the company. So it's not really helping a lot of the construction workers that you think it is. The windmills also normally don't last more than 10 years. It takes 15 to 20 years to even recoup the cost of putting up a windmill when you consider the cost of the concrete, the steel, the labor and everything that goes into the cost of the windmill. Not only are they bad for, property values, but they're also bad for our health. There's a lot of health problems that come with the generators. It causes cancer and it's killing our birds like crazy. When you get migrants, birds migrating back and forth, there's a huge loss in our habitat birds. The problem that they have a lot is that the blades break. And the companies don't come back and fix them. They don't stand behind them. And there they stand. And there you've got that piece of concrete on your land where you cannot produce either cattle or grain or anything else. And you're locked into that contract, like they said. And I agree with David Edge. The only reason any of these windmills are going up is because your taxpayers' money, all your federal income taxes are subsidizing this. They're not free. The money that the people get for putting them up on their land, the farmers, that money isn't free either. That's your taxpayer money. And when the utility board comes in and has the local REC or the Corn Belt put up all this electrical grid, and let me tell you, it's a huge electrical grid. They come back on all of us REC and Corn Belt members and they charge you because they have to recoup the money somehow. They're not gonna recoup it. And all this energy that's generated by these windmills, it doesn't stay here in Humboldt County. It goes to Omaha, it goes to Des Moines, it goes to Minneapolis. It goes as far south as Dallas, Texas, but it doesn't stay here. You're not going to benefit from this. That's the problem, but we're paying for it in many, many different ways. And in case anybody doesn't understand what's going on, the president has put a moratorium on putting these windmills up. So why are we even having this discussion? Does anybody realize that? There's a moratorium on putting any up. It's not that the companies aren't gonna push to do it because they're making money. They're taking out these, fake corporations that everybody's hearing about in California and Minneapolis, and they get the subsidy money from the government. And it's not doing anybody any good. You cannot recoup the cost of these windmills in 15 or 20 years. And they die before that, long before that. And then what do you do with the debris? These blades are so full of toxic chemicals, they're making the workers sick. They're making the people that are close to them sick, and the generators too. It makes everything around it. It destroys the land. It won't grow around it in close proximity, and you have a problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, gentlemen. Morning. I'm just here as a resident of Humboldt County, pretty much my whole life. This ordinance that has been put in place by the zoning board is here to protect all residents of Humboldt County. Not for or against either one, for the windmills, against windmills. It's for everybody. I think it's fair. I think it's obtainable. Yes, they may have to work around it to get their windmills put up. But they had the same ordinance when I was a kid when all these commercial hotspots come in. We got hog buildings everywhere in this county. They figured out how to work around it. You guys, I encourage you to vote the ordinance the way it is. We are a small county. And we need to keep it fair for all. Another thing is, if you guys, all of our fire departments in this county are volunteers, every single one. They are not equipped to deal with a massive fire that could be potentially started by one of these. You look in September, storm gets right, wind blows, obviously that's why they want windmills here. Who's responsible for the thousands of acres of damage that are burnt, gone? Is it the guy that put the windmills up? Is it the county? Is it RWE? Who supplements the farmer that loses? That's a question I'd like to answer. I also live in rural home county. For that reason, I wanted noise, flashing lights, all that stuff. I live in town. I don't live in town. I live out in the country for a reason. I like quiet. I like to see for miles, unobstructed. So I think the ordinance in place is fair for all. And I encourage you to make your best decision. Thank you.
Thanks, good.
Linda Hanson?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for listening to all of the community. And, my biggest thing is what happens with eminent domain. So, I live out in the country for a reason, because we like peace and quiet. And if eminent domain is passed, which it could possibly happen, I guess my question to you is, will there be an eminent domain by bringing this in, and these companies can just come in and do whatever they want with the country? And, I guess, well, my question is, what do we all have to lose, or what do we all have to gain? So, that's all.
Thank you.
Luann Christopher?
Yeah.
In here. Hello, my name is Luann Christopher, and I've lived in Humboldt County all my life. I raised my family here and they all live here. I'm a conservative and don't believe this beautiful area should be developed with wind turbines, data centers, pipelines, or whatever the next flavor of the month is. Because once the beauty is gone, it's gone, and you will never get it back. I echo the concerns from the folks before me regarding seed corn production, which provides income for farmers, field laborers, truck drivers, and various other businesses across the county. But I really can't erase the memory of all the wind turbine blades trucked to the Union Cemetery, only to be picked up and trucked to another location to be crushed by a caterpillar and buried in a landfill. My question is, where will all the blades go from our current and future wind projects when they need to be replaced? Let's protect our beautiful county. I encourage you to make the best decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff Elberson?
He was just here. There's Jeff.
Jeff Halverson, lifelong resident of Humboldt County. I have a Hardy address, and I don't feel that this type of movement is necessary in Humboldt County. And I would urge the supervisors to take upon the ordinances, and we would have a better order in Humboldt County as a result. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm struggling with this next name. Any suggestions? All right, I'll skip down here. We have is it Erickson? Is it? Well, yeah, the father, yeah. You want a buddy if we understand, figure out. Read off the phone number if you can read it. Oh, phone number is 368-3005.
That's me.
Oh, Bonnie. You must be a doctor.
Morning.
Good morning, Lonnie Larson. Like many of you, I've lived in Humboldt County my entire life, and I'm here today to speak for myself, my husband, our family that has gone on before and those who come after us. We've heard a lot of good reasons here today as to why wind energy is not an answer for Humboldt County. We've heard a lot of very good reasons not to do this. We've heard only one reason why to do this, and it's money. Humboldt County cares about its land. I don't know these families' stories about their land, but I can tell you we have worked long and hard to get a beautiful piece of property, and we want to keep it that way. We care about our land. We care about our county. We know how to grow and prosper our county, and we care about our people. Ms. Rogers talked about the zoning and ordinance going back to the drawing board. We ought to thank these people for going to the drawing board and having drops of sweat all over. We'll say it again. We thank you so much for that group, for the hours and hours that they have put into adopting an ordinance to protect us. And I urge you, please, to sign that. And again, I would say, if this is a good reason, if wind energy is so good, in the words of some of our other speakers, why do they need to be subsidized? This is not a beginning of some failed experiment. This has gone on a long time. Apparently the numbers aren't what they need to be. And so to conclude, I would say, this is about money, but at what cost? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Morning. Morning, Supervisors. Dial Erickson, lived north of town, lived there my whole life. They approached me about 3 years ago about putting a windmill up. One of their things that they talked about was the red lights being able to shut them off. They didn't say anything about the FAA or anything. They just promoted it as this was technology they would use. They talk about the noise and say it's too low and then we just have to put up with whatever they have. We talk about the flicker and say we'll have to deal with that as well. They've also talked about fixing tile, and I can have enough experience to tell you, unless when they install this thing, that they install it like they're actually looking for tile, they won't see it. And it will get destroyed. And it may not show up for 3 to 4 years later, and who's gonna fix it then? I also wonder if they put the line in, and it's between the county tile and somebody 10 years down the road who wants to install tile, will they have access to the county tile? Yet they're being assessed for it. I think the only way the county will actually know how much revenue they would get here is if they sign a contract with putting windmills on county property. And that doesn't seem to be the case. The ordinance doesn't say they can't build, it just says they have to be good neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Rouse. Harold.
Morning. Needless to say, this is a very divisive subject. And I think as supervisors, you need to look back as to what's brought this forward. Okay. 2 or 3 years ago, this started to be a subject in Humboldt County. And I have not been involved in it. I'm going to admit it. You haven't seen me in one of these meetings yet. But you guys have done your due diligence. You appointed a committee to look into this. It's taken, I don't know, 2 or 3 years to do it. Okay, you've done your due diligence. The committee has done their due diligence as far as spending hours and hours and hours upon looking at other things. I've read in the paper some editorials about they don't think the committee was in favor of wind energy, or they don't think this or that. If you would have appointed a committee that was 100% for wind energy, you would have had other people on the other side looking at it and saying, okay, you didn't even look at what it was doing to the land or what it was doing to our taxpayer dollars. Okay, so you've done your due diligence. And if what I hear possibly, if there's threats already against Humboldt County about this ordinance, then do we want those kind of people here anyway? Okay, I mean, really. So, I think you've done your due diligence. As supervisors, you need to make sure that you do your due diligence. I think you're all aware of that. I've been in a lot of positions on boards, okay? National, state, local, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we need to make sure we do our due diligence. If you do your due diligence, then you're okay. And what happens, happens. I think this ordinance is good. I think you've done a lot of work on it. I think you need to pass it. Thank you for your time. Thanks, David.
Yeah, we got a 57101. Oh, Mark.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors and people in attendance. My name is Mark Thompson. I'm a resident of Badger Farm in southern Humboldt County, Webster County. Was a resident of Humboldt County for the first 25 years of my life. And I'm here to show support and represent absentee landowners, my landlords, family members of my family who own land in Humboldt County that I operate. They are very much in favor. It is the Jensen family, and then also my family, my parents, my brother, my nieces and nephews, and my children. We are in favor of this because of the opportunities that it does to provide additional income in the farming world. Everybody knows I've been involved in farming for 45 years of my adulthood, and times are tough. This is something that we can do. Also, in my professional life for the last 36 years, I worked as a farm manager. And I had direct operational with over 10 wind projects across the state, from Minnesota to Missouri. There's been a lot of fallacies, a lot of things have been read on the internet. A lot of things that have come up that are against windmills, and most of them are incorrect. I've dealt directly with several different wind companies as far as drainage, farming, seed contracts, all of those type of things. The other thing is the absentee landlord is not represented in this thing because they do not live here. They don't get to vote, but they pay taxes. And I see how different counties from before and after wind projects, what has changed. I currently live in Webster County. We have wind projects on the southern side of the county. I used to be prided on the Humboldt County road care and rock and what kind of roads we had in Humboldt County when I lived there. It's not night and day compared to what it is now with Webster County. Webster County runs circles around Humboldt County. And different other things. I've seen counties down in southern Iowa that went from dirt roads to now having beautiful roads and everything else that comes along with the additional income. So I just want to charge the Board of Supervisors as representatives to think about the absentee landowner, the people that aren't represented here personally in person, but to look at them as people who pay taxes, support the county, support schools, support the roads, support the infrastructure that are not represented here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark.
All righty, that concludes everybody who has signed up.
Did anybody that signed up that he couldn't read your name?
No, I got them all.
You got them all? All
Got 'em all.
right, thank God. All right.
There's some out there yet.
I signed up late there. My name is Kent Tigas. I'm up here. Not a good public speaker, but no, seriously. I want to commend the planning and zoning on a well thought out comprehensive ordinance. It appears that many of these requirements of this ordinance were developed from other counties that already have turbines and have discovered that their original ordinances or lack of ordinances, many cases lack and had shortfalls that need to be addressed. I encourage the adoption of this ordinance as originally written. It calls for responsible placement to minimize the effect on the general welfare of the community, which is a foundation of any ordinance. It is effective in involving the view of neighbors by requiring contact and proximity, a good dialogue of understanding of the proposed project. I gotta apologize, my wife was in the hospital all night, so I wrote this morning, so anyway. Other than the farming practices that we've all heard about and noise and all that stuff, I want to also mention that Purdue University did a study that shows microclimates are created by the wind turbines. You know, we're mixing ground air up to 1,000 feet, and it creates a warmer night and a cooler day. And this could have very good effect on, or poor effect on plants, moisture, and so on. Now, I know the ordinance does not intend to eliminate turbines, but place them in responsible areas. And I think the adoption of this ordinance as written to minimize the effect on our health, welfare, and well-being. I love open country. When I go to Pocahontas, a lot of places there's no power lines or anything else. And I just like the openness. It's our sea, it's our open water. And it's a beauty that I, along with many others who live in rural Iowa, that we enjoy. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Ken? Sorry. Anyone else?
I just need to say one more thing. I'd like to have an answer from the board about this. I was told by someone that once you sign the document that okays the permit for the farmers who do want it, then it opens up the problem for people who don't want it. That the companies have the right to come in with eminent domain and put them wherever they want without the landowner's permission. Or if you have people that have houses that are within a location where they don't want them, they have no rights to say. Your constitutional rights are taken away. Same as the pipeline. The companies come in, they take the land they want, and they don't give a crap what we want. And unless somebody tells me otherwise, these companies have the right to do that. Once you sign it, our rights are gone.
I don't think that's correct at all. Eminent domain in areas out in the unincorporated area of Humboldt County would have to be exercised by the Board of Supervisors. It could not be
You're doing it with the
exercised.
pipeline.
Well, hold on, we're not talking about a pipeline, you're just talking about using an eminent domain to put in windows. I don't know that that's allowed, but even if it were, it would have to be through the Board of Supervisors.
And that's what I'm
All
saying.
you can't take people's land and put up, you know what, I would defer to Ms. Rogers, she's got.
The right of eminent domain in connection with pipelines and other sort of facilities is controlled by statute. When a company seeks a permit from the Utilities Commission for certain types of permits, it can request the right of eminent domain. There has not been a single wind or solar project cited in the state of Iowa using the right of eminent domain. And you know, there's no intention for anyone to seek eminent domain here. A permit being issued under a county ordinance would not give that right to anyone, and even a permit issued by the Iowa Utilities Commission would not give that right to anyone unless they requested it. There would have to be a special hearing, all of those landowners would be heard, and that has never happened, so.
You're responsible.
That's not,
I know.
Not really.
That's not.
If the information does have anything to do with the supervisor, it is a federal and a state constitutional right, and it has nothing to do with supervisors. You can collect, you can do a permit for eminent domain, what does the supervisor say? So now,
We're not talking about pipelines, that's not even an issue. In Humboldt, I know it's talking about putting a pipeline through here. This ordinance and the public comments on this ordinance address windows or WEX, or however you want to call them. And the reason for public comments is obviously this is, you make your comments for and against. The idea of the zoning ordinance on WEX, to address WEX, is to figure out if this is something that Humboldt County will or will not allow. Now, my understanding of the 4 windmill position is the setbacks would need to be changed for a windmill project if it can come into Humboldt County. It cannot come in based on the ordinance as written now. Obviously, there's 2 sides to this, so the point in taking these comments is to determine what the board of supervisors will do going forward. As you heard from a lot of people, the planning and zoning commission is to create this ordinance, give their advice to the board of supervisors, then we have the public hearings to determine what happens after that. But I think, talking about eminent domain, but ramming a windmill project down someone's throat is not the point of any of this, and not something that's been considered or anybody wants to do. I think the only question is, if the right amount of people want a windmill project, is that something that Humboldt County is going to allow or not allow? So any windmill project that would even be considered by the board of supervisors, and I don't know their answer to whether they would or would not approve one, would have to be by people who are willing to have windmills on their property. No project is gonna be considered by the supervisors when it's gonna go on some of the property it doesn't want. I mean, I'm not trying to oversimplify it, it just, I don't want people to think that we're looking at taking people's land and forcing projects on anyone. That's not the point of these hearings, that's not the point of this ordinance. The only thing the board of supervisors would consider is when a bunch of people all want the same thing in a windmill project, came to talk to the board. The question is, do we even let it get that far or not? So that's the point of everyone making these comments today. That's the point of this public hearing.
All right, thank you. With that, Dave, I don't know how to speak. Dave, go ahead, Dave. Come on up.
I did not sign up to speak, but I was on the zoning board when we wrote these ordinances, and I'm sure everybody in here can hear me. We went through probably, what, a dozen counties. We took the highlights out of those ordinances. We took out and put this together for Humboldt County. We did not restrict. If we wanted to restrict, we would have put a moratorium on. This is an ordinance. If you want to build, you have to meet some qualifications. That's all I'm gonna say. And the one more thing I wanna say, when you go down C-49, get over to Storm Lake, all those over there that are 25 years old, they're old, they're outdated. What's gonna happen to the ones in Humboldt County when they're 25 years old? Who's gonna take care of them? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Commissioners, my name's Patrick Smith, I'm with RWE. I'm with RWE Americas, and I've worked on probably around 16 wind projects across 7 different states. We're not here to force this project down roads, but we are here to get a workable ordinance, and what we've reviewed so far is simply not a functional ordinance for wind energy. We could go into technical detail on that in a more directed conversation. It would not work to go through all of the issues in 2 minutes, but if we're even to look at how the noise section is written, it doesn't follow good technical practices. We're to look at the setbacks. They're inappropriately infringing on landowners' rights to build things. They are far too restrictive for the technology that's being put up today. Now, I've heard a lot of concerns, and I don't expect that we're going to put every single one of those concerns to bed, but I do know that a lot of them are unfounded. And when projects get built, things generally even out because they are unfounded. Seeing is believing and experiencing is believing. So I will keep it simple. We are open to discussing more with the commission or with the planning commission as to how to better craft this ordinance. And I believe you all know how to reach us. So we appreciate the time today.
Thank you. I'm looking for a motion to close the public hearing. Everybody's done.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing at.
We have a motion
I'll second.
and a second at 10:06. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Public hearing is closed. Now we need to set a date and time for the second reading of this said ordinance 77. Is that the same as normal, 4 and 20?
Yep.
So, being it's a Tuesday, the 15th of June won't work, because that'll only be 19, right? We have to wait for the following week,
Yeah, right.
so June 22nd.
That works for me.
Well, if we do it June 22nd at 8:45, because today we were ready at 8:45, we'll have 14 things that somebody will bring. I'm not looking at you, Ben. But I'm just asking, what do you want to do? Somebody make the motion.
What do you think, Ben, for time wise?
I can keep all my stuff off.
Or if you don't mind sitting, waiting, do it after.
So if we go at 8:45, does that work for you? The other Ben will buy.
All right, so
something.
I'll make a motion for the second reading of the wind ordinance number 7.
7.
For June 22nd at 8:45.
Okay, we have a June 22nd at 8:45. There's a motion, anybody else? We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same signs. Motion carries. Just like that, we flew through that baby. You gonna keep moving, or you needing a break, or you wanna, what do you wanna do? What's your wishes?
Keep moving.
Keep moving, I guess they said. All right. With that, we are looking to start the public hearing for the first reading for the battery energy storage ordinance, number 78 moratorium. With that, I'd look for a motion. Well, we'll wait till they leave.
Yeah.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you. Advance, rest in peace.
Now your shoes are tied.
Sure we can. If the ones that are visiting would please move out into the hall, that we can continue, please. We appreciate it. Thank you. Anybody listening?
Well, yeah. So I understand it. I've got.
April would like to talk to you. Copy of the list of items. Contact.
Good, I kind of wrote beside them, I'll be a copy. Because I can read.
Matt, you want a copy of the list?
Yes, you got it.
There's no cranky phone calls. I know we All right, let's get moving here. We are past the time and place for the second public hearing of the first reading of the battery energy storage ordinance number 78 moratorium. We could get a motion to open the public hearing.
I suppose.
We have a motion by Dennis.
I'll second.
Could you guys please go out in the hall if you're gonna visit, so we could try to do this? Thank you very much.
Kind of like we couldn't hear people.
I'm sorry,
I'll second it.
I can scream. We have a motion and a second to open the public hearing at 10:13. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign. The public hearing is now open for an ordinance establishing a moratorium on accepting applications or issuing permits for battery storage installations in all zoning districts within an unincorporated area of Humboldt County. This one is one page. Well, welcome, Kevin. How'd graduation go? Did you see any of my kids that didn't make it? Oh, man. All right. Anybody have any input on this? Was there any signups for this, Trish? There's no signups. Do you have any overview, Kevin, that you guys would? Okay, Matt's up.
I'll just put it broad on the moratoriums that you're gonna address here. I think it's adequate to allow 365 days for your planning and zoning to give them adequate time. to
We did
research
that at their meeting, right? You changed the wording on that?
Not all supervisors from there, but thanks to the ones that did show up. So just encourage you to continue with moratoriums that have been asked for you guys to put in place to allow them ample time to research this. Hopefully it's not as extensive as the Lynn one, but it could get there. So,
right.
Just ask the board to proceed with them because of it.
You did make that change, right, Kevin? Okay. And with these, we are open to hopefully, changing anything if someone has a concern, right? That was brought up that weren't at the meeting. Not that we're gonna change it all, but anyway, with no other discussion,
We'll make a motion to close the public hearing at 10:15.
we have a motion
I'll second it.
and a second to close the public hearing at 10:15. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, now your guess is as good as mine, and the first reading on, or the second reading for the one above it would be at 8:45. Do you wanna go at 11:30? I'm being a smart aleck.
Yes.
I hope not.
Well, let's set it for earlier, because we can always,
We can just keep flowing.
yeah, that way if they get done early, you won't be just sitting there twiddling their thumbs, so let's.
So we're looking at June 22nd at,
Maybe
you wanna
not,
shoot for the,
nine.
say 9,
say 9,
okay?
so I'll make that motion for June 22nd, at 9 o'clock. For the second reading on the battery energy storage.
9 AM.
We're, seconded.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor? Opposed, same sign. June 22nd at 9 is the time. Thank you. All right. The public hearing for the first reading of the commercial electrical transmission ordinance number 79. An ordinance establishing a moratorium on accepting applications or issuing permits for commercial electrical transmission systems in all zoning districts within an unincorporated area of Humboldt County. We have had some calls on this one. And
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
we're got a motion to open the public hearing.
Seconded.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are open at 10:17. Welcome. Come on up.
Morning Supervisors, my name is Jacob Olberding and I'm the General Manager at Humboldt Power Cooperative. Here today to express concerns over the proposed moratorium and future potential ordinances related to transmission systems within the county. The potential impact that would have on Humboldt's ability to operate and maintain the electrical infrastructure that we have within the county. So in Humboldt County, Humboldt owns nearly 75 miles of high voltage transmission systems or distribution substations and 2 high voltage switching stations. This infrastructure is imperative for the safe, affordable, and reliable power that we deliver to nearly 1,100 members that ultimately are served within the county. Humboldt is also in the process of aggressively rebuilding its aging electrical infrastructure. We've been working on this for the last 10 to 15 years. That does include a number of lines within Humboldt County that we have already rebuilt and lines that we do have plans to rebuild in the future. I ask that you please consider how such a moratorium for future ordinances would impact our ability to operate and maintain our systems. And I ask that you please consider how future ordinances would impact our ability to build new transmission lines to serve the future growth that may be required by our. So, again, thank you for your time. To be with you in the future.
Could I ask you a question? Sure. I mean, would you guys be interested in helping us?
We're open
to some type of
to help educate
interaction because we're needing. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Kevin?
Yeah, Kevin Corby, Chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission here in Humboldt County. And, after we, passed the specific moratorium ordinance, we were reached out to by our local, public utility corporation or companies. And we do think it would be appropriate for us to have a little bit more, discussion or review of this matter before we pass this ordinance, moratorium specifically. So, yes, our request is being you the supervisor send this back to our board for further before taking action on it.
Okay. Anyone else?
Mark Thompson again.
Thompson, I remember you.
Yes, I agree with Kevin. You guys need to look at this. You can't just stop. I mean, we're all dependent on transmission line. I've got two big high voltage ones. I got four belts, rebuild going through one of my properties that I operate. We gotta keep maintaining it. You can't just stop everything. So I think it needs to go back before you put a moratorium on it.
Okay. With that,
I'll make a motion to remand it back to planning and zoning and let them do whatever it is they want to do with it.
okay, we have a motion to remand it back to the planning and zoning. And a second, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
One second, please.
Bob, I think was the second. Remand back to planning and zoning. And Kevin, we would be interested in having someone sit through those, so let us know. With that, I take a motion to close this portion of the public hearings. If we're done with it.
Motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing on the commercial electrical transmission ordinance at 10:21. All in favor?
Aye.
Those same sign. Motion carries. All right. Looks like we are at the public hearing for the first reading on the data center project ordinance 80 moratorium. An ordinance establishing a moratorium on accepting an application or issuing permits for data center facilities in all zoning districts within the unincorporated areas of Humboldt County. With that, I take a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to public hearing 10:23.
We have a motion
I'll second.
and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Presentation and discussion. Anybody?
Well, hearing none, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
We have a motion
Seconded.
and a second. Evidently, Bob, you were faster than mine because I'm at 10:22. We opened at 10:23. So let's go 10:24. All in favor? Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You want to move the time for June 22nd at what time? For the second reading.
And say 5 minutes after the last one.
Okay, is that a motion?
Yes, it is.
I'll take a motion for June 22nd at 9:05.
Seconded.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 9:05. With that, we are at public hearing for the first reading of the pipeline transmission ordinance number 81 moratorium. I'd take a motion to open the public hearing.
I so move.
We have a motion
I'll second.
and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are open at 10:24. An ordinance establishing a moratorium accepting application or issuing permits for the private and commercial pipeline transmission system in all zoning districts within the unincorporated areas of Humboldt County. Ordinance 81. Is there anyone to speak on our list? No? Nobody on, well,
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing at 10:25.
we have a motion and a second. Close the public hearing at 10:25. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'm moving to June 22nd. At 9:10. Someone makes a motion? Any of you?
I'll make a motion. Public hearing. Forward, system.
We have a motion to have the second reading of ordinance 81 at 9:10 on the 22nd. And a second. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign. 9:10 is the time. Thank you. Headed to the last one here. We have a public reading for the first solar utility systems ordinance number 82. I would look for a motion to open that hearing.
I'll make my motion now.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to open this 81, or excuse me, 82 at 10:26. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are open for an ordinance establishing a moratorium on accepting application or issuing permits for solar utility systems in all zoning districts within an unincorporated area of Humboldt County. Anyone want to speak?
Can I ask just a couple questions? Have you guys been approached for, commercial solar?
No.
Us as board, planning and zoning, question to you.
Oh, you guys, yeah.
The board has not heard from anyone.
Yeah. And why did the board decide, what's the reasoning for, a moratorium on commercial solar?
Good moratorium on everything right now, it's an all-encompassing moratorium, what this is doing is basically breaking out every individual item. So that we can come back and look at it individually without having to reopen the one main moratorium every time we come together. With an updated ordinance.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it simpler.
Yeah.
Simpler is sometimes harder, would say.
Right.
Anybody else? All right,
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing. 10:27. Second.
we have a motion and a second to close the public hearing at 10:27. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now I'm looking for motion to set the date and time for the second reading of the solar utility systems ordinance number 82 moratorium for June 22nd. And I'm gonna shoot the moon here and say 9:15. How are we looking? Motion, please.
I'll move for June 22nd.
All right.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to go with 9:15 on the 22nd for ordinance number 82 moratorium. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. As with the day, we will let those kind of roll as according, seeing how the top one goes. With that. Anything else? Wants to be brought up, Trish?
Question on the
You have to speak up.
remanding the one back. So do they make adjustments and do we have to publish it? And start over like one?
If adjustments are made. Okay. Should probably start over next. If no adjustments, if anything else is made. Then we start over. The reason for that. obviously, on moratorium, and no speed on any of those. I'm thinking player making changes to the moratorium. But you were outside. You were talking commercial. Oh, sorry.
Yes,
What I missed?
electric.
Transmission lines moratorium. There was an objection
Okay,
and we voted to send it back to the planning and zoning board.
okay. So that one, if no changes are made, then no, you just keep it, but if you make a change. Unless it's still like fixed typos, if you make a change that changes the meaning of the ordinance or makes it different, we'll start over. If the ordinance remains the same and all you're doing is fixing typos, punctuation, change the word here and there, but nothing's really changed after the ordinance, then no, you start.
But with them offering to help design it.
Well, how that works is you guys are elected officials.
I know.
Anybody that spoke here, didn't speak here, thought about speaking here, can certainly email or call you with their opinions or suggestions. There's nothing that says a company is allowed to provide you their suggestions.
Right.
So as far as that, there's nothing that will stop them. It's not illegal for them to do that. The same way if, part of we want to get on the agenda and speak to you for the next meeting. I would advise you to allow them to do that. If somebody felt like their opinion wasn't addressed at this meeting, they could make a statement during public comments at the next meeting. But yeah, I mean, I don't think you can stop the general public from essentially lobbying you or giving you their advice.
Well, they started out by sending us an email voicing their opinion as to what they would like and how it would be worded.
Right.
So they've done their due diligence, I would say.
I would assume they'll send you a very similar explication.
Right. All right.
Is it okay that it doesn't follow with these other ones that? Because.
We separated it out because. Yeah, it could go on its own timeline. Yes.
Yeah, I think,
Just want to make sure.
I think when you separate all of this out, then because it's not out there. They address those sort of as they talk, so. If the legislature takes longer, it takes longer, there's no time limit from your first public hearing for ordinance. To then pass it, so just having the first public hearing today doesn't require you to go 2 weeks, and then pass without minutes. If you make changes, I think you have enough people interested, they're gonna want to be involved in any process that involves changes to the election. Or the high transmission, the fancy power lines.
The trend, yeah.
All right. Are we clear on that?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else? I'm just letting you all know that I'm going on vacation for the next 6 months. I should be back in January sometime.
Be right behind you.
Hey, did a good job.
Yeah.
Did a good job.
Well, I'll see if my tires are still got air when I get outside and there. It was probably our sheriff that was out there doing it, but sorry, Dean, I'm just teasing. Okay. With that, if nobody else has anything else, we'll look for a motion.
Took a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor? Bob and Dennis, all in favor? Aye. Both same sign. We are out at 10:34. I figured it'd be 11-ish.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you.